Think about your morning routine for a second. You walk into your local coffee shop, you're, checking your phone.
Running through your mental to-do list for the day.
Right, exactly. And you order your usual, you tap your card, you grab your cup, and you walk out.
Yep, happens every day.
But let me ask you something. Do you even, really look at the person making that coffee? Or do they just sort of fade into the background?
Oh, they totally fade. I mean, we treat service workers as part of the architecture of our day, really.
Yeah.
They're essentially treated like background extras in the movie of our own busy lives.
Yeah.
Just there to facilitate our schedules.
It's a bizarre paradox, honestly. We rely on these people to make our mornings function, yet we treat them like furniture.
Right.
And that blindness, that assumption that the person wiping down the counter is basically invisible, that's the core of today's deep dive.
It's such a fascinating topic.
It really is. We are unpacking this incredible investigative interview piece. It's titled "The Man Behind the Mug: Why the City's Quietest Barista Might Know All Your Secrets."
It is a phenomenal piece of journalism, I have to say.
Sure.
It profiles this man known as Mick, who runs a modest little place called the Moo Cafe.
The Moo Cafe, what a name.
Right, it's this rustic, completely unassuming shop. And it's wedged right between these massive neon-lit skyscrapers and decaying brick alleys.
Because to everyone in this city, right, the beat cops, the politicians, the corporate executives, Mick is just this simple, slow-talking guy from out of town who makes a really good latte.
Yeah, just a harmless barista.
But our mission today is to reveal the staggering reality of what is actually happening behind that espresso machine.
It's pretty mind-blowing.
It is. Mick is using weaponized silence and just everyday cafe equipment to run this massive covert intelligence and contraband network right under the city's nose.
Now, I think it's important to state up front that as we unpack this source material, our goal is purely to examine the tradecraft, right?
Absolutely.
And the profound psychology detailed in the interview. We are impartially reporting on the mechanics of his operation. We are certainly not endorsing his illicit activities.
No, definitely not.
But the way he pulls off this urban camouflage is, well, it's a masterclass in behavioral psychology.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because to understand how Mick gets away with running this sprawling underground operation in plain sight, we first have to look at the character he plays.
The facade.
Right. Mick leans heavily into this country boy persona. He tells people he's from way out of town, from a place where roads don't even have names, just numbers.
Yeah, he describes the city as being like standing next to a jet engine 24 hours a day.
Wow.
So his strategy isn't to compete with that noise. It's to lower his own volume to zero.
And he plays the harmless bumpkin perfectly. Like when customers come in and start loudly complaining or bragging about a massive city council scandal.
Or a gang war breaking out on the north side.
Right. Mick's go-to move is to just nod slowly, hand them a muffin, and say, "Gee, sounds complicated. Glad I just stick to coffee."
It's brilliant.
It really is. It feels like a textbook example of weaponized incompetence. He uses this folksy, simple persona as a mirror for the arrogance of the people around him.
Well, the psychology of that tactic is what makes it so effective. Mick understands a fundamental flaw in the ego of city dwellers.
The need to be seen.
Exactly. People in a high-paced urban environment are utterly terrified of silence. They spend an immense amount of energy trying to project importance.
Oh, yeah, constantly.
Trying to prove to everyone around them how smart and connected they are. So when they look at Mick and they see a guy who keeps his mouth shut and acts a little slow.
They just assume his head is empty.
Right. They equate a lack of talking with a lack of intelligence.
Which is a huge mistake.
A fatal mistake.
Yeah.
Mick points out a profound truth in the interview. He says when you aren't busy running your mouth, your ears actually start working.
I love that quote.
Mick is likely the most observant person in any room he stands in, largely because he isn't a naive farm boy at all.
Yeah, the source reveals his actual background is entirely different. Before he ever touched a coffee bean, Mick was a private detective for 10 years.
Operating just outside the city limits.
Exactly. He said he grew up in a different kind of dirt, not farms, but pavement.
He spent a decade digging through the filth that everyone else wanted buried. Tracking down who was skimming from union funds.
Figuring out which judges were taking bribes under the table.
Right. And that kind of work forces you to develop a highly specific set of observational skills. He learned how to read a person's posture to gauge their stress levels.
He learned how to tell the difference between a genuine lie and just a momentary calculated hesitation.
Exactly.
But if he had all those skills, why become a barista? I mean, why make coffee?
Well, the interview points out that walking around the city, actively hunting for information as a private investigator is just too loud.
I see.
Pulling threads draws attention. If you dig too deep, the people you're investigating start looking back at you.
So he needed a blind.
Right. He needed a physical trap where the targets would willingly come to him, leaving him entirely in plain sight.
And a coffee shop is the perfect architectural trap because of its sheer ubiquity. I mean, literally everyone needs coffee.
Everyone. Mick describes how, on any given Tuesday, he might have a police detective sergeant sitting in the front booth.
While a low-level syndicate enforcer from the docks is standing at the register.
Right, and a city auditor checking spreadsheets in the back.
And because they view him as an appliance, they completely lower their guard. They literally whisper into burner phones while he's standing 2 feet away, wiping down the steam wand.
It's crazy, but the physical eavesdropping is only half the equation here.
Here's where it gets really interesting. The source material explains that they also connect to his free Mumu guest net.
Yes, this is where Mick's operation crosses from physical observation into full-on digital surveillance.
So how does he do it?
In the interview, Mick points to his point-of-sale register system. To anyone looking at it, it's just a standard plastic casing, a little touch screen, a receipt printer.
Like any other cafe.
Right. But Mick reveals that inside that plastic shell, he has hidden a modified Wi-Fi pineapple partition.
Running a localized packet sniffer.
Exactly.
Okay, hold on. A Wi-Fi pineapple. I've heard the term in cybersecurity circles, but what is that actually doing inside a coffee shop register?
Think of a Wi-Fi pineapple as a digital imposter. Devices like smartphones and laptops are constantly sending out little digital pings.
Like searching for Wi-Fi networks they've connected to in the past?
Exactly, like a home network or a favorite cafe. A Wi-Fi pineapple hears those pings and essentially lies. It tells the device, yes, I am that trusted network.
Oh, wow.
The device automatically connects, and suddenly Mick's hidden hardware is sitting squarely in the middle of all the traffic flowing between the customer's phone and the internet.
So it's a man-in-the-middle attack.
Essentially, yes.
But what is he doing with that access? Is he just skimming credit card numbers from his customers?
Yeah.
Because running a common financial scam seems incredibly risky.
And a bit beneath the sophisticated operation we've been talking about, right?
Huh.
Exactly. Mick explicitly calls stealing credit cards amateur hour. He's in after their money. What's fascinating here is that he is harvesting their metadata.
Metadata.
Yeah. Every time a high-profile target logs into the cafe's free Wi-Fi, their unencrypted data packets route directly through his hidden partition.
But aren't modern messaging apps end-to-end encrypted? Like, if he's just intercepting scrambled data, what's the point? Is he trying to crack the encryption to read their private messages?
He doesn't need to.
Yeah.
That's the genius of focusing on metadata. Metadata is the data about the data.
Okay, break that down for us.
To put it simply, if you send a physical letter, the payload is the message folded up inside. The metadata is everything written on the outside of the envelope.
Oh, the return address, the destination, the timestamp.
Exactly. Mick explains that he doesn't need to read the specific words inside the envelope to know that if the mayor's chief of staff is launching an encrypted messaging app to text a known syndicate burner number at 3 in the morning.
Something major's going down.
Right. Just the pattern of communication becomes the leverage. He's mapping the hidden power networks of the city just by offering free Wi-Fi with a latte.
That is wild. But gathering intel is only one side of the coin. If he's collecting all this leverage, how is he monetizing his position without creating a highly trackable digital paper trail?
Information isn't Mick's only currency. The source material details how he uses the mundane logistics of the Moo Moo Cafe to safely distribute physical contraband.
Oh, right. The street refers to this premium product as cream. And the methodology he uses to move this product without drawing a shred of attention, it's a masterclass in urban camouflage.
The baseline transaction works like this. A client walks in and orders a large black coffee, extra heavy cream.
That's the code word.
Right. And while making the order, the client slips an envelope of cash across the counter, hiding it under a newspaper.
A classic move.
Then Mick slides back a paper bag containing the coffee, but the coffee is served in a customized double-walled hot cup.
Wait, double-walled?
Yeah, the contraband is literally vacuum sealed inside the insulation layer between the inner and outer cardboard of the cup.
It's like a Russian nesting doll of crime. To any beat cop or innocent bystander standing in line right behind them, it just looks like a completely ordinary $5 breakfast transaction.
The seamlessness of the transaction is exactly why it works. And Mick even caters to higher-tier, higher-risk clients.
Oh.
Those clients will ask if he has any of the imported sour cream in the back.
Okay, but that raises a logistical question. If he's moving higher-tier contraband out of the back room, that requires equipment.
Oh, sure.
He would need scales, packaging, chemical testing kits. How does he hide a drug packaging operation if the health inspector or a friendly neighborhood cop wanders into the stockroom to use the bathroom?
Mick's preparation anticipates that exact scenario. The interviewer notes that he has laboratory-grade digital scales, vacuum sealers, and chemical reagents sitting right in his storage room.
Just out in the open?
On open shelving.
Yep.
If a beat cop asks about it, Mick immediately drops back into his slow, country boy script.
What does he say?
He smiles and says, "Oh, officer, I'm just experimenting with a new house-made vanilla sweet cream syrup. Got to get the ratios exact, you know. Consistency is everything in the service industry."
Wow. The sheer boredom of the explanation is the shield. The cops probably just laugh, pat him on the shoulder, and ask for a free donut.
Pretty much. His business philosophy explains why he succeeds where the major crime syndicates constantly stumble.
Oh, so.
The syndicates operate with a mentality that Mick calls loud. They drive armored SUVs, they resolve disputes with shootouts.
Right, which actively draws the attention of federal investigators.
Exactly. Mick thrives because he operates entirely in the margins. He offers his high-risk clients something the syndicate simply can't provide.
Absolute discretion and convenience.
Yes. They don't have to arrange a sketchy meeting in a warehouse at midnight. They can literally pick up their product during their morning commute.
It's an incredibly efficient, closed-loop system.
Yeah.
But even a spider sometimes has to leave its web, right? The interview explores what happens when Mick actually needs to operate outside the cafe to bypass physical or digital security out in the city. And he applies that exact same philosophy.
Weaponizing mundane objects.
Yes. He views the everyday world as a toolbox. He flat out refuses to carry professional, military-style tactical gear.
Well, as he notes in the piece, a duffel bag full of spy gear or specialized burglary tools naturally draws the eye.
It does. And the details on his physical tradecraft outside the cafe are just wild. The interviewer asks for an example of this philosophy, and Mick pulls out a heavy-duty paperclip.
The exact kind he uses to hold paper invoices together at the register.
Exactly. He explains that the steel alloy in this specific clip is high tensile. By bending the tip at a precise 12-degree angle and using a flathead pastry tester from the kitchen as a tension wrench.
He can rake open a standard pin tumbler door lock in less than 8 seconds.
Less than 8 seconds. With a pastry tool.
It's incredible. The mechanics of how he does that rely on a deep understanding of standard security hardware. A pin tumbler lock has a series of spring-loaded pins inside a rotating cylinder.
Right. Okay.
To open the lock, all those pins need to be pushed up to a specific height, known as the shear line. The pastry tester acts as the tension wrench, applying a slight rotational pressure to the cylinder.
I see.
Then, he uses the bent paperclip to rapidly scrub or rake the pins upward. Because of the tension he's applying with the pastry tool, as the pins hit that shear line, they get trapped in the open position. 8 seconds later, the door is open.
That is terrifyingly simple, and he applies that same MacGyver mentality to digital security, too.
He really does.
When he needs to blind a CCTV camera or disable a security keypad, he doesn't pull out a high-tech frequency jammer. He uses a portable USB power bank, a stripped charging cable, and a copper coin.
It's so smart. By bridging the data and power contacts on an external junction box with the coin, and forcing the raw output from the power bank into it.
He creates a localized overcurrent loop.
Right. He's deliberately creating a severe short circuit that forces the hardware's internal safety switches to trip,
shutting down the entire local node. So what does this all mean? With all the money he makes from data brokering and the contraband network, why rely on paperclips and loose change?
Why wouldn't he just buy professional stuff?
Exactly. Why not buy professional lockpicks or a military-grade signal jammer?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it all comes down to plausible deniability. Mick is playing a high-stakes game of risk management.
Okay, how so?
If a police officer stops you on the street and finds a set of professional lockpicks or an illegal frequency jammer in your jacket,
Mhm.
there's no innocent explanations. You go to jail.
Right.
But if you were searched and the police pull out a bent paperclip, a pastry tool, and a portable phone charger, you're just a harmless, slightly disorganized barista carrying junk from work.
The overcurrent loop tactic is also brilliant from a psychological standpoint. Like, when you use a high-tech jammer, the security system recognizes that its signal is being aggressively blocked.
Exactly. It registers a catastrophic security breach.
It triggers a massive alarm, and the building goes into lockdown.
But when Mick shorts out the node with a coin, the system's diagnostics just register a localized electrical fault. The security guards watching the monitors think a rat chewed a wire or a fuse blew.
Oh, wow. So instead of calling the police?
They just dispatch a maintenance worker with a toolbox to check it out. That subtle misdirection buys Mick hours of time to finish his work, escape, get back to the cafe, and go right back to pouring milk.
Considering how sprawling this operation is, skimming metadata from city officials, running a contraband network for violent syndicates, hacking physical infrastructure, it really begs the question of how he survives.
The stress alone would be unbelievable.
Right. How does this guy sleep at night without being terrified that the authorities or the mob will eventually shut him down?
Because he maintains perfect, overt innocence. The Moo Moo Cafe has an A rating on its health inspection. His tax returns are spotless. And he rejects the interviewer's premise that he is building an empire. He says empires have flags, empires have borders, which means they have targets on their backs.
He doesn't want the attention.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mick insists he isn't building an empire. He's a spider sitting in the center of a web, just vibrating the threads.
And that web serves as his ultimate failsafe. He has essentially engineered a system of mutually assured destruction.
It's his insurance policy.
Exactly. If anyone, the police, the politicians, or the syndicates, ever decides to move against the Moo Moo Cafe, Mick has rigged the game so everyone loses.
Yep. If he goes down, the mayor's private search history gets leaked to the public.
The police chief's hidden financial records get sent straight to federal prosecutor.
And the syndicates get a detailed list of exactly which of their own people have been skimming from their supply.
It functions as an automated dead man switch.
That's exactly what it is. Logistically, operations like this are usually set up on secure remote servers using what are called cron jobs.
Cron jobs.
Yeah, they're essentially time-based scheduling programs. Mick likely has the encrypted payloads of all this blackmail material sitting on various servers, programmed to automatically send to the press or the authorities at a specific time every few days.
So the only way to stop the countdown
Is for Rick to log in daily and manually reset the timer. If he's arrested or killed, the timer runs out and the city burns.
Wow. The way the source material describes his demeanor when discussing this failsafe is just incredibly chilling.
Yeah, the lighting shift in the interview.
Yes. Mick actually turns off the main lights of the cafe at the end of the interview. The room goes dark, lit only by the streetlights outside.
So cinematic.
And the interviewer notes that in that shadow, Mick's eyes suddenly look sharp, cold, and entirely focused. The country boy act completely vanishes.
But then, just as quickly, he walks to the door, unlocks it, and instantly snaps back into that slow, folksy grin.
Right.
His parting words to the interviewer are, "Watch out for those streets. They can be real dangerous if you don't know what you're doing." This raises an important question, though, about the illusion of power in our society. We are conditioned to believe that the loud people, the politicians shouting at the counter, the enforcers driving the armored SUVs, are the ones in charge.
Right.
But Mick proves that the loudest people are actually the most vulnerable. It is the quietest man, the one who operates in the margins and simply observes, who holds all the leverage.
So what is our core takeaway here? Mick is living proof that invisibility, patience, and careful observation are infinitely more powerful than volume and ego.
Absolutely.
The most dangerous person in the room might not be the guy with the gun or the guy with the badge. It might just be the guy quietly steaming your milk.
It serves as a stark reminder to pay attention to our own surroundings, We leave an immense amount of digital and physical exhaust behind us every single day, completely unaware of who might be sweeping it up.
That's a great point.
It should certainly make you think twice the next time you blindly connect to a free public Wi-Fi network at a coffee shop just to save some cellular data.
Seriously. Who are you overlooking in your daily routine? Who are you talking a little too loudly in front of because you assume they aren't paying attention?
Makes you wonder.
It leaves us with a final thought to chew on. If Mick's massive citywide intelligence network works perfectly simply because arrogant people ignore service workers, what other invisible professions in our modern society might secretly be holding the real strings of power?
Oh, that's a wild thought.
The late-night office janitor emptying the trash bins at a hedge fund? The gig economy delivery driver who has the gate codes to every mansion in the hills?
Or the quiet IT support staff who fixes your laptop and has administrative access to every single file in your company.
Exactly. Are they just background extras in your movie, or are they the ones actually writing the script? Next time you tap your card for that morning coffee, you might want to look a little closer at the person behind the mug.